Have you ever seriously considered the character of King Saul and King David? Saul was a very moral man. He was principled. We don't read about his life any of the absolute moral failures that we read about David's. King David literally broke all of the 10 Commandments. But God said of David, I have found David a man after mine own heart, who will keep all my commandments and teach his children in them. Either God is looking at David through an entirely different prism, or he's talking about a different person. Because David was a man without character. But he caught a hold of the one thing that is dear to God's heart, and that is relationship. David was passionate about God's presence. And so keeping God's commandments must mean entirely something different than what we have considered to be. But then we know that the commandments were given not to offer us justification, but a justifier. The law is God's Facebook page. It's a revelation of who He is, how far short we fall of it, and a preparation for Jesus Christ and the absolute fulfillment of God's redemptive plan at Calvary. Keeping His commandments always brings us back to the cross, where Jesus Christ became our absolute righteousness. So David was a man after God's own heart. This was a moral failure, but he was a godly man. There's a big difference between morality and godliness. Many a moral man is ungodly. In fact, most of what passes for morality is simply self-effort and good character, which negates the need for God's grace in our life. We know that where sin abounds, grace is much more abound. So David's life was full of abundant grace because it was full of sin. But David was a godly man because he knew that without coming to the tree of life on a daily basis and engaging in a passionate relationship with the Almighty, that he would sink in the deepest hell. That there was no sin he would not commit without coming daily to the tree of life and eating and engaging in passionate intimacy with his Creator. Don't settle for morality. Search passionately for godliness and become a person after God's own heart.